Welcome to the Love Anarchy podcast in the Relationship Rebellion, where we get deep about love, relationships, and dating. We uncover the facets of real, conscious love. I'm Andrea Atherton, your host, psychotherapist, and love expert, here on episode 148. Here to talk about how energy affects our relationships and us individually. We are actually just made of energy, and some of us are more apt to pick up energy from other people or sometimes other entities. In this episode, we're going to delve deep into how to tap into that to clear any energies that aren't yours and how to be aware of how energies are impacting your relationship. Our guest today is Saranam Mark Greenberg. He is a spiritual life coach. He specializes in chakra healing. He clears cords, intrusions, and entities, and he empowers clients to heal themselves and unlock hidden potential. Saranam's clients experience increased energy, greater empowerment, and higher awareness in just one session. Spring is in the air, and this is a time where people start looking for love. Do you want to be magnetic? Do you want to exude love energy so people are just attracted to you? Then go ahead and sign up for a free clarity call. We can talk about how we can get those results. Look down in the show notes or go ahead and find me, andreaatherton.com. Listeners, pull up a chair. Cuddle up with your sweetheart, put your earpods on, continue to clean the kitchen, or turn us up on your car stereo as we give a warm welcome to Saranam Mark Greenberg. Welcome, Saranam, to the Love Anarchy podcast.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you on. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about you?
Okay. I'm a spiritual life coach. I do healing work and, really teaching people how to work with their chakra system, how to clear their chakras, how to clear intrusions, especially people contact me for that, how to clear cords and, maintain a clear and clean field, energy hygiene. That's what I call that. And so I've been doing that for a long time. I've pretty much been pursuing healing work in some form or another all my life, over 30 years. And I've been in Mount Shasta about 12 years. When I came here, I got really specific guidance that took it to a higher level. And so the work I'm doing now is really for about the past 12 years since I've been here.
Tell the listeners a little bit more about the special energy of Mount Shasta.
Oh, right. Yes.
If they don't know.
It is different. I mean, everybody notices it. Most people notice it. Right. And people have different opinions about what that's all about. But yes, there is a very strong, unique energy here. And, to me, it feels like if you look at the earth as a living being, this feels like a nodal point where there's an interaction or an interface between the earth and the larger cosmos. Let's at least say the galaxy. Energetically, many different streams of energy pour in here. And it's transmitting too. So you could look at it like that, very strong energy. And, a lot of people are attracted here for that reason. So for me, it's been a great place to live just because of the like-minded spiritual people. Right?
Yeah. And some people call them energy portals too. So there's places all over the world where that connection is stronger and Mount Shasta is definitely one of those.
Yes, you could look at it as a portal. I think I'll unblur this because I feel blurry. Yes, you could look at it as a portal, or many portals. I would say some people don't believe in this, but I've had direct experience with. There's this fifth dimensional city within the mountain, Telos. And so a lot of people come here for that, to connect with the Telosian. So, Earth herself is a multidimensional being. And it's the 3D world is not the only thing going on here.
Well, it's starting to not be going on, so I think that's going to be part of our conversation.
Yes,
as we move, as the Earth becomes more aligned with the 5D. Yes. So, and we're going to be specifically talking about the importance of energy and being aware of your energy and clearing your energy in relationship.
Right. Yes, that comes up for me all the time with my clients, whether they're in a long-term relationship or it's a new relationship. Everybody's got energy, not just blockages, but emotions they're holding on to. And then oftentimes there are other either people or astral beings attaching to that. And so, it's good to be aware of that when you get involved in a relationship. Doesn't mean you have to end the relationship because you perceive that, because pretty much everybody has it. You're going to run into it over and over again. But it's good to know how to clear it out of your field. And it can also be something to talk about in the relationship, because you might have a much more comfortable time in your relationship if your partner is open to working with some of that energy, right? And so you don't just feel like you're taking it on. That happens a lot, especially to women in relationships, right?
Why more for women, do you think?
Well, at least women are more aware of it. Women in general, in our culture, I think it's cultural. There might be some biological added peripheral awareness that women have over men, but culturally, women are allowed to have more of their feelings than men are. Men are generally much more repressed and much less aware of what's going on in their emotional and intuitive faculties. Everybody has these faculties. Everybody is picking up on feelings from the people around them, not just their intimate partners, but the women tend to be more aware of it. And so that's just what I've heard from female friends and clients, that they feel like they're taking on things from the man that the man is not processing, right? You hear that a lot, right? So.
Yeah, but it definitely goes both ways. And two, a lot has to do, like, I've been looking at studies around many different sexual partners. And do you feel like with sex that you are more open to taking on other people's energy, or more susceptible to it? Okay.
Absolutely. Basically, if you are getting sexually intimate, or honestly, even just sleeping in the same bed with someone, you're opening your field to that person. Mm-hmm. And in that case, whatever is attached to that person is almost certainly going to attach to you. There's no way to stop it. Yes. Because you're choosing to open up, and it just comes in. Absolutely. And so that can be dangerous. Just like there are sexually transmitted diseases, there are other things on an energetic or astral level that also pass that way.
Yep. Because listeners, we are just energy anyways. So of course we're going to be picking up other people's energy, and even energy of the collective.
Yes, right. There's a larger morphogenic field, right, that we're all plugged into. And yeah, some things will register, like 9/11 is often cited as an example of that, because there was actually a spike in the electromagnetic field of the Earth, not at the moment of that impact, but right afterwards, when all, millions of people were reacting to it, that strong, cohesive emotional reaction literally changed a measurable electromagnetic field in the Earth. So that's an example of it that could be measured. But there are many ways that are not measured, or some people have technology to measure it, but it's more subtle, right?
Yeah. So how do you teach people to be aware, or, be able to look at their energy and what's going on with it?
Well, it's not as difficult as you might think, because really, just as humans, it's part of our biology. It's it's culturally denied, basically from childhood. So basically, because of our cultural indoctrination, even as young children, we're trained to ignore those faculties that are normally operating. And in other cultures, where that's not the case, you'll see everybody just acknowledges that that's part of life. These energies, or a certain awareness of what you can't see with your eyes. So it's part of this invisible realm that is really denigrated by science, right? If they can't observe it, they don't think it's real. But obviously it's observed all over the world. I would say that if you wanted to be more specific about it, it's the way that the astral plane interacts with our 3D physical world. And in that sense, just being in a human body, you have the equipment built into your nervous system, into your mind and your brain, and to perceive a lot of that interaction. But so it's really a relearning for people. That's what I find. It's not as difficult as you might think.
What are some tools that you teach people to use to be able to be in tune with their energy?
And so usually what I'll do in the beginning, this is a very specific and easy to use tool, is I'll guide a person to first, kind of use that heart math technique to center into the heart, take some deep breaths in the heart, relax, and think about someone you love, or gratitude. So you're developing that coherent field, that communication between the heart and the mind. And then in that state, when you're really feeling that love in your own heart, if you're visual, you might see it as kind of a golden light in your heart. Then I guide the person to send that love or that light up through the top of their head and go right up to the sun, right to the very center, the heart of the sun. So we all know what the sun is. We know what it looks like. We know what it feels like. It's familiar to us. It's part of our 3D world. But the sun is also a multidimensional living being, a conscious living being. And so, but because it's also physical, you know what you're connecting to. So it's not like something vague or something you can't see. You can stand right outside and connect to it. So this I find really helps people to feel something. But when you're working with the divine light, when you've got a big column of divine light, then you can just direct it. You don't have to use your own energy. You just use your breath, bring it in where you need it, let's say the throat chakra, and then out on the exhale. And the divine light, because it's at a higher frequency, will just clear that out of the field.
Yeah, that's a great way. And like even simple techniques like breath work. And I'm sensing that it's about connecting with your physical body too and experiencing it in your body, which I find a lot of people, because they don't know what to do with the energy, that they just disconnect from it.
No, absolutely. Right.
So tell the listeners a little bit more about chakras and how chakras serve us.
Okay, so that's a great example of how we have a physical body in this three-dimensional world, but we also have a chakra system that it's not visible to science, but it's visible to many, many people who have developed an ability to see it or perceive it or feel it. It's common knowledge in India, for example, and not just a belief system. It's something that can directly be perceived. This is part of the etheric anatomy, you might say, that exists as part of the human body. The physical body, you might say, is the most dense or the most inner part of this anatomy. And then there are various energy bodies surrounding the physical body. The emotional body is one of those. A lot of people are aware of that. Empathic people definitely pick up on the emotional body of other people who are near them or when they're intersecting. And, it goes on from there. But the chakra system, it is right within your physical body, but it's part of the etheric anatomy. Most people have heard of the 7 chakras. The one at the crown points up, kind of like an opening or a cone extending upward to receive that divine light from above. The one at the root chakra at the perineum is a cone opening downward. That one is often closed in people. So I usually have to work with people to reopen that, but because that is what connects you to the earth. The earth is a living being also, and also a being who is directly connected with the divine source. So energy is coming up from the earth, but if you're closed to that energy, then you're not receiving it. Many people who live in the cities get disconnected from that energy. So those are the two primary points of access to that infinite supply of divine light I was mentioning earlier that you can use to clear other things. And then the other chakras, most people are familiar with this. There's one at the forehead, the third eye, one at the throat chakra, at the heart chakra, the solar plexus, and the lower abdomen or sacral chakra. And all of these five chakras that are in the body have a front and a back. So a lot of people are aware that there's a chakra in the front, but there's also a backside to that chakra at the third eye, at the throat, and oftentimes interference can be coming in from the back as well as the front. So it's good to be aware of both sides of those chakras, those five chakras in the body.
Yeah, because I think about it when I'm doing Reiki and energy work, I'll work on the front and the back. Although with the energy, when it's moving through me into the person, it goes wherever it needs to go.
Right.
So, yeah. And I find that like with the chakras too, it can shift around, like be open or closed. And it's not like just like people say, oh, I have a blocked root chakra, but it's not always blocked. You know, it can shift around a lot.
Right? Sure. They're part of your living anatomy. So they are also alive and responsive responsive to the environment and also your reaction to the environment, just like that. Most people without any instruction, if they're feeling unsafe, they'll tend to close the affected chakra and try to shield. That's the usual unconscious response.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not taught how to deal with the energy.
No, we're not.
We're taught. So what do? We stay away from things that that trigger that, or or seem to make it worse.
Exactly.
And how do people know when it's not their energy and it's somebody else's impacting their energy?
Okay, so sometimes that is difficult to discern, because what happens, both in the case of other people and also other astral entities, non-physical beings, in other words, they are typically creating cords or attaching to areas in the person where they're having their own emotional issues.
Okay,
where they, most, there are like positive examples, like when you're in love with a person where there's a heart chord and there's a relatively beautiful, I'm not saying that there's not other things going on, but let's say there's some good energy passing back and forth. But usually the attachments that I'm helping people with, these are beings that are attaching to lower human emotions, fear, shame. These are the big ones, guilt, anger, which are generally repressed emotions in most people. And so in cases like that, there are two sides to it. There's when you get a cord or an attachment like that, what it does is it tends to fan the flames of some negative emotion that you already have. So you might feel increased anxiety, or you might feel increased shame, because in the case of the astral entities, many of them are parasitic. And so they're actually intentionally trying to get more of that energy that they feed on. And so clearing them is definitely helpful. You want to address that. But then you also want to, it's actually a sign that you have inner work to do as well, because they're attaching to something already existing in you. So let me see. I didn't quite answer that question. So how to discern it? The best way is you have to have some awareness of your chakra system, and once you gain that, and you're able to open at least the crown chakra. The crown chakra for most people will open first. And so you can access this infinite supply of divine light. When you start bringing that into other areas of your body, we're talking about a higher frequency of light. It's a unified field. In human terms, we think of it as both love and power mixed. Okay, so it's both clearing, annihilating, and loving and nurturing. But when you bring it into areas where there are feelings of shame or unworthiness or guilt or fear in you, you're going to run into some obstruction. Okay, you'll feel like you're pushing up against something. So that can be a sign about the inner obstruction. But when you bring it through, let me just give a common example. Most people will have some kind of a cord at the back of their neck or head, but mostly it's at the back of the neck, left over from their childhood relationship with their parents. And usually it's primarily with the mother. This is an area where even as an adult, you can feel if the mother is worried about you, or you can feel expectation. It'll be something unconscious, like I would call this
like
unconscious
guilt.
So it's like an unconscious psychic communication. All right.
Okay.
So if you bring energy through, again, using your breath, just like yoga, that's the most effective way to work with the energy, bringing it in on the inhale into the throat chakra. And then you start opening the back of the throat chakra to bring it through. You'll start to push up against something. That's how you know that there's another cord attached, because you'll feel something that's there. There's a presence, and you have to bring more light through to push it off. So that, basically you have to have at least that much awareness to really be able to discern how much is external influence and how much is internal, because like I said, they're always connecting to internal issues, always.
I've had people, highly sensitive, empathic people, say all of a sudden they walk into a room and their mood changes. I've seen them have other people's energy get stuck in their auric fields and have to clear that out too. I don't know if you've done this before, but I have them just ask, is this mine? And they get a really clear answer, yes or no. And I'm like, well, then just let it go. You can't clear other people's stuff. You have to get it out of your system, send it back sometimes.
Sure. That's going to work. That will work usually when it's just emotional energy that you picked up from another person. When you're getting into these more, some people experience these more aggressive energies that won't just leave when you ask them to.
Yeah. So where do these come from?
Again, I'm going from my own observation.
Yeah.
There are other theories than mine, but they seem to have become at least part of our world and been here for a long, long time. I would say these beings are parasitic or predatory. They're feeding on human energy. They're astral beings, so they're not eating food the way we do. They're feeding on energy. And they found humans to be a great source of that. Okay, humans are pretty easy to manipulate, because of our endocrine system and our emotional body. And so then depends. There are different varieties of those. Some of them don't want to be seen. Some of them are coming in the back of the chakras, trying to stay hidden. Some of them are very aggressive, will come right in the front and people will feel them. It's a dominating energy, an energy that instills fear or anxiety. These are things that you could pick up through a partner in a relationship. If something like that was already attached to your partner, they probably don't know it. Most people would have no idea that something like this was attached to them. Sometimes they come through the family lineage and they're attached really from birth, and you really don't recognize those. You just think that it's part of you. You think all these self-deprecating thoughts that you have are just your own thoughts. You never imagine that there could be something influencing your thoughts, right? You can't really tell until you clear it out of the field and you feel the difference. And then you're like, oh, look at that.
Yes.
So for especially those things that come through the family lineage or things that you've gotten used to in a long-term relationship, you most times you won't know until you actually do something to clear your field and move them out. Mm-hmm. And then, for people who are highly sensitive, I always recommend they do a little morning practice can not just connect with that divine light, but bring it all the way down through their spine and circulate it throughout their outer toroidal field. Because then again, you're connecting with a higher frequency of light. It's like you're going a level above all of the drama of this world to a higher frequency that dissolves it. So when you bring that higher frequency energy consciously, bring it into your outer field and circulate it, you've got more filter there in your outer field. You've got more energy. Most people who are sensitive are trying to block energy. It's uncomfortable to them, and so they're like, "Oh, here it comes again," and so they contract and they block. But that's very ineffective. You really want to think about transmuting energy as it comes in, just kind of returning it to pure light. That's much more effective technique.
Yeah. Is there a little meditation or something that we can end with that we can share with the listeners?
Sure. I can just guide you through this basic connecting and clearing practice, just like a 5 or 10 minute practice you could do in the morning. Not everybody will be able to do it readily. Because some people have obstructions at their crown that make it more difficult. But yeah, I can, some people will, and I can just guide you through that.
That'd be awesome.
All right. So let's start. Again, it usually helps if you put a hand over your heart.
Okay.
Just to feel where your heart is. You're not just thinking about putting your attention in your heart. You're really dropping down and put into your heart, really putting your awareness in the center of your heart. Your heart is not thinking, and when you're in anxiety, your mind starts racing. Your heart doesn't do that. Okay. It's not thinking. The heart's naturally connected to the unified field. It is, of course, in Chinese understanding, there's like 3 brains, the one in the head, the one in the heart, and the one in the gut. So we're tuning into the heart brain, really. So dropping in, feeling where that is, taking some long, deep breaths, nice, long inhale, breathing into that heart-centered awareness, really feeling it, and a nice, long exhale, breathing out, slowing down your breathing. That naturally slows down your heartbeat and signals your body that you're in a safe space. Nice, long inhale. And if you can breathe out a little more slowly, that will relax you even more quickly. Little slower on the exhale. Nice long inhale, breathing into the heart, and then a nice long exhale. At least 3 breaths. You can take longer, but I'm just going to do 3 for now. Okay, so then just think about somebody you love, or if that's complicated, think about some place on the earth that you love, or a pet, something that doesn't feel complicated, where there's just a feeling of love. So you're generating that feeling of love in the center of your heart. It could be your direct connection with the divine source, however you feel that. And from that place of love in the center of your heart, if you're visual, you might see that as a golden light. We're going to send that up from the heart, right up the spine, right up to the top of the head. So if you're visual, we're sending like a golden light from the heart to the top of the head. And then just take a moment at the top of the head to kind of swirl around and create a little opening there. Even if there's some obstruction at the top of the head, that also often happens when you're bringing this higher frequency of love that's innate. You can always find it in your heart, to that place at the top of your head, and just swirl around there for a moment. It's going to create a little opening at the top of the head. It's going to open that crown chakra a little bit, even if you haven't previously felt safe to do that, because you're doing it from the inside. You're starting with what you know, your own heart, bringing that light. So we're creating a little opening. Doesn't have to be big, just enough for a thin beam of light to come from your heart through the top of your head, right through the roof, all the way up to the sun, right to the very center, the heart of the sun. As I mentioned, the sun is not just a physical object, it's also a conscious living being, and one who is directly connected to the divine source. So you're connecting from your heart to the heart of the sun, and then opening to receive the sun's response. The sun will respond and send its love back down to you. And you might feel a little tingling at the top of your head, or a little warmth. But even if you don't, put your attention at the top of the head, focusing on that that little opening that you created, and then let's open it a little wider. You know, you want to, I do it this way so that you can feel that you're connecting with something that you trust, because in order to open, you need to feel like you're trusting the energy that's coming in. So that's why I start by connecting from your heart to the heart of the sun, and then you're opening to this divine light pouring from the sun. It's really coming from the source of creation, but it's coming right through the sun, right into you. And you can open to that. So with each in-breath, opening a little wider, opening the crown chakra a little wider with each inhale, and just drawing that energy into the center of the head. On the exhale, you can send it right out the front of the forehead, the front of the third eye. Opening the crown a little wider with each inhale, sending that light out the front of the forehead on the exhale. Opening a little wider, stretching open. Because this light is at a higher frequency, as you're opening to it, it's naturally, without effort, going to dissolve all those interfering structures or obstructions or coverings at the top of the head. You don't have to even worry about that. It's just going to do it automatically. So just opening is all you have to do. Opening to receive this divine light. You don't have to create the divine light. It's just pouring in, just opening wider to receive it and sending it out the front of the third eye on the exhale. Opening as wide as you can. So you want to take a little time there so you feel like you're opening to the full diameter of your crown chakra. So the entire top of your head is receiving now a big column of divine light. Now you've got the crown chakra open. You're connected to the divine source. You've got this big column of divine light to work with. If you were working to clear your field, you could bring that through each chakra in turn to clear them out. But for this short meditation, I'm just going to go straight down the spine to connect with the earth. So, but this is the energy you can use. Again, directing it with your breath, if wherever you need it, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the lower abdomen, those are the common places. When you're working with the divine light, it's all about opening. What we're used to doing is contracting and shielding with fear-based shields. But because fear-based shields are made of a low frequency, then whatever you're afraid of just sticks to them. And that doesn't feel comfortable at all. It's all up against your body. It's not really working. But when you're working with the divine light, because it's at a higher frequency, you can bring it through those same areas where you feel interference. And it will, by its nature, just dissolve those dense energies out of the field. I call this protecting yourself with your radiance. Because once you're opening to the divine light and you're bringing that radiance through your body, through your chakra system, that becomes your radiance. The radiance of the divine light is your expression of that divine light. And then you start realizing that that's who you are. You are an expression of that divine light. And the more you open, the more it protects you. And not only does it protect you, but it also allows you to be more expressive. Because, again, that's part of the nature of the divine light. It's not just clearing, it's also loving. Okay, so that's what I would do normally, but for now, let's bring that light all the way down from the crown chakra, down the spine, down to the root chakra at the perineum. Again, this area is often closed up or restricted. Sometimes there's sexual interference or sexual shame, which is right down in that area at the lower sacral chakra and the genital area that is causing the root chakra to close or feel unsafe. Sometimes it's just feeling disconnected from the earth. Spending time in nature certainly helps there. But as much as you can, let's bring this divine light, this big column of light, down to the root chakra, down to the perineum. And again, we'll just swirl around at the perineum, at the root chakra, just gently opening it. And again, you may not have success doing this if you feel like there's something interfering or something unsafe, or you've learned that it's unsafe to open there, that you might need a little more help or practice to open. But for people who can, we're bringing that divine light down through the perineum. We're opening a little bit there. And then also, if you're having difficulty, you can go outside. You can put your bare feet on the earth so that you're sure, again, about what you're connecting to, because that's usually the source of the fear, is there are other intruding energies, and you don't want to open to those. So if you know that you're connecting to the earth, that can also help you to open there. Bringing that divine light from the crown down to the root chakra. We're opening up a little bit, doesn't have to be much, like half an inch or an inch at the root chakra, and we'll send a beam of light right down through the root chakra, down through the floor, down into the earth, down through all the layers of the earth, down through the mantle, down through the core, down to the very center, the heart of Mother Earth. So we're going right down to the very core of the earth, using this big column of divine light from the divine source through your crown chakra, through your heart chakra, through your root chakra, down, 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 down through all the layers of the earth until you root in at the very center, the heart of Mother Earth. There is an innate connection between your heart and the heart of Mother Earth. So we're really reconnecting with that, reconnecting from your heart to her heart at the very center of the earth. And when you feel that happening, usually you need to take a little time to really feel that happening. There's kind of almost like a tug or a grounding or rooted feeling. You feel held. You feel sort of like you're sinking down a little bit, or really are pulled, or you're held by Mother Earth. That's the feeling of really rooting in and connecting with her. Once you make that connection, then she's going to respond, and she's going to send her energy, her expression of the divine light back up through your root chakra. And most people will feel it at this point. They'll feel a little tingling or a little warmth. They'll be like, oh, there it is. Some people, it'll move them to tears because it's such a happy reunion to be reconnected to Mother Earth. Then you start focusing on the root chakra. Put your attention at the root chakra, at the perineum. And again, with your breath, opening on the inhale, just opening to receive more of this divine light from Mother Earth so that it's coming in. Mother Earth is a mother who has only love for you. So for most people, it's beneficial to adopt Mother Earth as a substitute for their own imperfect mother, because Mother Earth is going to bring her love into all those areas in your lower abdomen where your own love has been withheld through the judgment that you received in childhood. So it's replacing the guilt and the shame and the fear, bringing love back into areas, that have been hidden, or through repression. So it can also help you reclaim some hidden gifts, both emotional and intuitive. That it's really helpful to reconnect with the earth. Okay, so opening to that energy, opening as much as you can. You might be able to open an inch or an inch and a half, or even 2 inches if you're very gifted there at the root chakra. Opening and just, again, allowing her love. And it's not just love, she also has power. So allowing her love and power to fill your lower abdomen. On the left side of the lower abdomen is usually where the self-repression is, the fear, the shame, the guilt. On the right side is more usually where we're interacting with the outer world. That's usually where there's a fear of being dominated or oppressed, or intrusive energy. Sometimes that can be intrusive sexual energy. Again, Mother Earth is powerful like a volcano, so you can bring that into the right abdomen to give you more feeling of strength, more ability to push off those intrusive energies. And then just to finish, you can just circulate that energy all the way up. So opening the root chakra, bring that energy from Mother Earth all the way up your spine, out the crown chakra. It'll come out like a fountain, and you can circulate that energy up and around your field, back down below your feet. It'll come back up through the root chakra, out the crown chakra, above the head, out and around the outer toroidal field, back down below the feet, up through the root chakra, out the crown chakra, up and around. Do that 3 times at the end of your practice. And then you can open to that brilliant white light coming down from the sun. Your crown chakra is already open to that. Bring that big column of brilliant white light down through the crown chakra, down the spine, through the root chakra, below the feet, and you're circulating that brilliant white light into the outer field, up above the head, back in the crown chakra, down through the root chakra, below the feet, up and around, up above the head, back in the crown chakra, down through the root chakra, below the feet. And now you're circulating this brilliant white light that's very transformative, that's at a higher frequency than the dense energies you encounter. This is very helpful for empathic people because it creates this filter in your outer field that's going to just naturally burn up or transmute a lot of the dense energies that come into your field. And it's not a fear-based blocking shield, it's a living, circulating field of light. You always want to think like that. being, protecting yourself by opening and allowing the radiance to come through, protecting yourself by transmuting energy rather than blocking energy, protecting yourself by being proactive and coming out rather than contracting and shielding. So that's just a basic starter to get you going.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Saranam.
Yeah.
How can people reach you to work with you or know more about you?
Right. Saranam Mark Greenberg is my name. You can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel there. I have a Facebook page, but really I don't post very much there. The best place is my website, which is www.saranam.us. That's SARANAM, all A's, Saranam, and it's .us, not .com. A lot of people, when you click on .com, it comes up to some Hindu site, but so that's not me. Saranam.us. And yeah, I have all my videos there. I have lots of articles. I have a lot of self-help information. I'm really here to help people. And also you could get a free consultation or a free assessment from me there if you want to know the state of your chakra system. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. That was incredible. I so appreciate it. And I'm sure the listeners got so much out of this episode. And all your information will be down in the show notes for the listeners. So,
okay, great.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to connect with you.
And thank you, listeners, for listening in with us on the Love Anarchy podcast and the Relationship Rebellion, where we get deep about love, relationships, and dating. And we also uncover the facets of real conscious love. First of all, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening in to Love Anarchy podcast, because I know you have a myriad of podcasts in which you can listen to. Please subscribe, ring the bell, and especially download. And don't forget to tell your friends so they can listen too. If you're interested in becoming part of the Love Anarchy community, you can find us on Facebook, Love Anarchy Podcast. If this or any other podcast episode has got you inspired, please get a hold of me. Have a clarity call so you can get out of your relationship rut. Start to love yourself and watch the world change around you. I'm going to leave you with my favorite short but sweet quote. Love is the only true power.